How do I look?
You look great.
Don't lie.
Everything is to the camera.
Oh. What's up, everyone? This is Peter McKinnon.
Talk as if you were me. Be like, I've been using the Sony FX3 for a while now, and...
You did not... I need a teleprompter.
This is it.
I already forgot everything.
The goal was to build it up to be a little more solid without that plastic handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The goal with it was to make it a little bit more of a solid rig, change out the plastic handle, and honestly, just give it a little bit more of a wow factor. I think if you... What?
A wow factor for what?
I think
like
if
for
you,
the clients?
Everyone. Should I start over?
No, just be like, we wanted to put a monitor on it without it falling off that plastic handle.
Okay.
Is that rolling? Can you see the red?
Yeah. This sucks. Okay.
This is it.
YouTube
We got
life
enough.
is hard.
We got enough here.
Blaine was able to, through a lot of trial and error, create a completely custom solid rig situation that allows him to quickly...
It's not totally custom though.
Oh my God. I never want to see this video. What do I look like? Can you play it back?
No.
Why? Also, the balloons...
Mark. Don't love that. Gotta get rid of this. Needed to use this shooting exteriors of a building. Something quick, easy to move around, and a couple days before the shoot, ordered this stuff to try to make a more solid rig for the FX3. One thing we're gonna be neglecting is audio here. I'm not using any audio. I've never run audio into this, and I'm considering this build right here as something that you are not gonna use audio for outside of the internal mics on this. So first thing in the cart, Smallrig full cage, bolt on the bottom, 2 1/4-20s for a tripod plate, bolt right here. My main priority was to simply just be able to put a reliable handle on here that I could put a monitor on. So this is the handle. I'll leave the links to the final pieces that I ended up going with. The biggest thing here, and the biggest reason why I looked at this, was because of the Airy locating pins. This is so important when attaching anything that may turn. Right off the bat, I thought more reliable than this. All these pieces come with tools. The handle actually keeps one up here. My problem here with the full cage, which is not that big of a deal if you have a very lightweight monitor, but it just kind of flexes. Maybe it's a little hard to see, but I was really noticing pulling this off and on a tripod when testing to do this exterior shoot, that this was flexing. So I pulled all this off, and this is gonna go down here. And now we will look at the half cage, which even the name of it, half cage, I thought, why would I want a half cage? But the thing that I really noticed about it that might be better was this piece right here. Seemed like it'd be a tighter connection for the monitor, and locating pins, super important. So we'll pop this on there. Second point of contact goes in here. Then we're popping this on right up here. Handle with the locating pins for this specific camera, because there's nothing really back here. I'll pop it on like this, just to be able to have a hand over the center of weight. Immediately, much nicer fit. You have this mounted over top of the camera, which is mounted with 2 1/4-20s, and it's just a much more solid fit. Is there a little bit of flex? A little bit, but much less than on this. This setup right here was starting to feel good to me. I don't need to mount much here, and I'm not putting a Teradek on this, and the whole purpose of this is to keep it small and just be able to reliably shoot with it when you need to use this camera for what is, in my opinion, its purpose. Moving around quickly, getting a nice image without having to lug something huge around. So I'm not adding ton of other stuff on here, and I'm only going to show what I think are like necessary bare essentials. So I'm not going to go into which ND filter you should use or which lens or which monitor. My goal was to get a solid base that doesn't increase the size much, that has 2 1/4-20s for a quick release, and can let me pull this on and off the tripod, go handheld, put a solid monitor up here where it's not going to, one, twist off of this with a magic arm, which sucks, and have a solid connection here, which brings me to the next piece. This, in my opinion, is the best monitor mount. 3/8/16 bolt with the locating pins. You can mount this on the back here with locating pins, and on the top here. The way that I ended up using this was to pop this on here. Then you have a tilt, swivel, and solid monitor connection here. You can very easily tighten and loosen the tilt and the swivel. So as I said, not get into which monitor you should use, but you got a solid connection here for whatever you want to use in the 7-inch or 5-inch realm with batteries on it. In addition to what I got here, I attached this phone mount back here and had my phone attached on the back. And the reason I did that, we will get into in a second, but it is not the Sony app. We'll put this on, and this is nice because you can get it where you want and then spin this so that it's not turned or anything. In addition to an actual monitor, I believe that the last piece that really helped me out here was the Monitor Plus app. So you connect to this similarly to how you connect to the Sony app, but there are some nice features that I didn't totally expect to see, but that really helped me out here. So I'm gonna turn on the Wi-Fi here. Side note, the custom menus in here are well worth the time to get figured out. I've already connected this, but when you first do this, you just connect via QR code. Join, and it will take a second, and we're in. So I'm gonna pop a lens on here. Let's get this looking somewhat proper. Actually, let's just do it on here. So my white balance is way off. I can just tap on here and set my white balance. So this is where I had the monitor when I was shooting this one day where I needed to have this rigged up that I keep mentioning. So the phone was right here, and the SmallhD was up here. I worked with this monitor, and the SmallhD just to be able to see well outside. But you can go through all of these elements and set a lot of different features down here. So first, while we're here, we'll just get the right exposure. I'm gonna just drop the zebras are on. You saw them just go away. You can have a false color frame guides where you can set the opacity of them, and to set the opacity or to change any of these settings, just long press on here and we can see your different settings to adjust these different parameters. You can put a LUT on here very easily. So this is built in S-Log3, S-Gamut 3, Cine to Rec 709, which is built in, but you can also add whatever LUTs you may make and resolve or download from the internet or whatever. Extremely nice to be able to just so easily tap this on and off, and if you want a clear screen, you can just swipe down. Your scopes are much more accurate and easier to look at, and you also have a screen like this where you can see much more information on your scopes, which I had this up the entire time, and the SmallhD showing just the full screen video. But super nice to see these scopes, which, you know, they remind me of DaVinci Resolve's scopes I'm used to looking at them, and it just makes the exposing your image just so much easier than looking at this. Even if you have like the S-Log3 assist on, you can just really see what you're looking at here. So I'm gonna turn that off. Anamorphic D-squeeze, image overlay if you want to line something up, and a lock. Another thing that's nice about this is you can save to camera roll. So I had that on, and again, this whole thing was built out so that I could go shoot these exteriors before the weather changed, and I had to just go do this by myself, and I wasn't going to lug around a heavy camera. So having this light, easy to work around camera was a great thing to have. In today's age, like a lot of times I'm putting a feed to a Zoom call, as I'm sure you guys are too, which it's an extra piece of the puzzle that I'm sure none of us love doing, but whatever, it's how it goes now. But being out and walking around outside, save to camera roll was awesome, because I'd save all the clips to camera roll, and when you roll on here or on the camera, it will save the clip to your camera roll. So whenever I had a moment to take a break or move to another spot or just a few minutes, I would upload all the recent saved to camera roll files, which are low res, like proxies, I guess, of what was captured. I would upload those to a shared iCloud album, which the rest of the team was invited to and could see, and they would get notified when new images would go in there, and they could give me feedback, which was extremely helpful to have and kind of puts everyone's mind at ease. So this is a nice feature. So this app, biggest things I used were save to camera roll, send them to my team, use the LUT, and use this image right here. Another great part of this is the tap to focus on this app, which just kind of makes it a little bit easier. And you can have a bunch of different focus modes. I mean, it's all the same focus modes as on the camera, but I find that having this here and just being able to tap to focus on what you're interested in is pretty nice and easier than using this down here. If you need a rig that you're going out to shoot some B-roll or something that you just need a reliable, solid setup, this is what I found with trying all these pieces. This is really where the magic happened. In addition to that, the half cage has a 15mm rod, which if you're not using a Sony lens or an autofocus lens, you can put a focus motor on here, and I didn't do that, but because I just used this lens, but it's kind of nice to be able to have that as well. The last piece, which I've seen these before with other cameras, not really ever used them, but the HDMI clamp. And this specific HDMI cable, I've had a lot of HDMI cables that are just like bad, but this is a good length and pretty solid while also flexible. So you just screw this down, and the door kind of fits in this little gap, and it just kind of, holds this tight, which is nice to have if you're moving around fast. And then you have a pretty solid HDMI cable. Granted, I've only used this one day, but it seems pretty solid for your monitor. So that's about it. I got 30 seconds left on this card. We'll see if we got everything that we need.